Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome to the Masters Fantasy Show, brought to you by MastersFantasyFootballLeagues.com. As always, I got the Masters crew with me, Dynasty Owl, the Doc. What's up, guys? How you guys doing? And are you ready to talk some Dynasty football?
Always ready.
Always, yeah.
Always, man. Good stuff. Right before we jump into it, if you could, hit the like and subscribe button. Come be a part of the Masters family. Today, I've been scouring through the trades. As always, these episodes are going to be a little bit different. This is the Dynasty Trade Spotlight. We're going to be doing the stud running back edition. These are trades that I see all the time. Process hundreds of trades a day, thousands a year. I hand-selected a few. We're going to pass them along. First trade popping up on your screen is going to be Jonathan Taylor and the 1.12 for Clyde Edwards-Helaire and the 1.5. I call this particular strategy someone sacrificing a stud running back for draft capital here. And I get a lot of people, Clyde Edwards-Helaire to the side. You can insert whichever running back you want there. Like some people like Clyde more than others, might not think that's much of a dip. But in fantasy rankings, Jonathan Taylor, number one back, if not the number two, number three. So here you've taken Jonathan Taylor in the 12 pick, for a young up-and-comer to get up to the 5 pick here. Your guys' thoughts on this strategy, and is this something you would do?
So I like this trade a lot. I really like the Clyde side of it, actually, because, as we kind of talked about in the picks episode, 1.5 is a good spot to be. There's a lot of options there, whether it be a Javonte Williams, an ETN, maybe even a Kyle Pitts. So I think in this draft, that's a good spot to be. Add in Clyde, who's, got a chip on his shoulder now. Obviously didn't do what we expected him to do, but he was basically the universal number one pick in rookie drafts a year ago. So, that's criminally undervaluing a guy with his talent. So as great as Jonathan Taylor was last year, I think it's a good time to make this trade too before Jonathan Taylor is like a superstar, Like he's had one good year, and even then it was really like one good half of a year. So, I think it's a good opportunity to kind of sell on Taylor and just get a good piece like Clyde, who's going to be worth way more a year from now. So I like that.
People say we don't disagree enough, so I'll just disagree for the fun of it. We both love Jonathan Taylor and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, so I'm not going to diss on Clyde at all. But I was super big on Jonathan Taylor even when all the Clyde hype was there. I never took Jonathan Taylor at the 1.1, but I thought about having him as number one even over Clyde before rookie drafts last year. And then, on the last show we talked about that 1.5 and guys like Javonte Williams, who we love. But, the 1.12, there's going to be a lot of good receivers still there. I've seen Rashad Bateman slip all the way to 1.12. Guys like Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore, plenty of receivers in this draft. So to get, that true stud, bell cow back, Jonathan Taylor, who's going top 3 in Dynasty startups right now, and then also a pretty good young receiver too. I just think that's a great way to build a Dynasty team, and I'll take that side.
Yeah, and I guess I just want to ask, because I know you guys both like Clyde Edwards-Helaire too. Would you feel any different if that was David Montgomery there? And that's kind of what I was going with. To me, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, David Montgomery. Yeah. There's just some guys in that class right there. Depending on who you like better. Are you giving up the stud and the 12 for the 5? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If it was Montgomery there, do you feel the exact same on that trade?
Yeah, I would still take Taylor.
I would change my opinion. I think my take weighs heavily on the fact that I believe Clyde will have a big bounce, year 2, take a big jump forward.
Yeah.
Whereas, David Montgomery was very solid and had a great end to the year last year, but I don't feel as strongly about him as I do about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I do feel like that would make things a little different.
I love him in redrafts, by the way. Finished 6th.
Yeah.
What else the guy got to do, man?
Absolutely.
Hey.
His value is only going to go up.
We'll see. I just think he's such an under-the-radar guy. Guy almost finished top 5 last year.
Yeah,
you almost have him for nothing, man. Not for nothing, but
they might
compared to
have
anybody else in the top
now.
10. Yeah. All right, this next trade popping up. This is going to be, taking a stud running back, going for a young, possible elite wide receiver. Another trade we see all the time. I think this discussion has been coming up more and more lately in Dynasty football at the top of the draft. Are we taking a young elite wide receiver with 10, 12 years? Are we looking at, these stud running backs? I just think more and more that's a question in the Dynasty community. We see it here all the time. Your guys' thoughts on this trade, and what side would you rather be on?
Yeah, this is a tough trade. This is a discussion we've had quite a bit too. Just talking about start of your Dynasty, your first draft, your fresh startup. How do you start? I mean, and I love CeeDee Lamb. I really do. There's really just two schools of thought. Either you go with the young receiver and bank on 10 to 12 years, or you go with the running back who's a stud. Dalvin Cook does have some injury history that makes it a little more worrisome, but I mean, how many truly elite running backs are there? And, I mean, it really just comes down to you see CeeDee Lamb being elite is kind of what it comes down to for me, as much as I think Dalvin Cook's amazing. I mean, the injury history has me a little hesitant. Now he's been in the league for what, 4? Is this year 4 or 5 for that class? I don't know.
There's like a
ton of them that came in, yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean, for me, as crazy as it sounds, I think I might go CeeDee Lamb. It seems crazy just 1-for-1 like that, but I do have a good feeling in my gut that CeeDee Lamb's going to be an elite wide receiver in fantasy football. Obviously, that's not going to happen this year, or at least it shouldn't. So you're going to have to wait a little bit, but I think I take the guy that I feel really confident about over a long period of time. And personally, I try to get a little more than just CD. If I wanted CD, I would try to get a little more because this is Dalvin Cook here.
Right.
But yeah, those are my thoughts on that trade.
You guys are gonna laugh when I say this, but I'm actually in a slow draft, like dynasty startup, like right now. Like it just started today. Dalvin Cook went pick 2 of the whole thing. So
there you go.
And CD will probably go round 2.
Probably.
I would guess. So, I mean, in terms of dynasty startup value, Dalvin Cook still going higher, coming off the board first, and probably just about every startup draft result you'd look at right now. But all that being said, I mean, CD's the long play. But, yeah, like you said, I'd try and get a little more because I do think the Dalvin side wins short term, but that's because everybody's still trying to win their league this coming year, and I think Dalvin helps you do that. But, yeah, CD's going to be playing a lot longer than the 25-year-old running back with an injury history.
Yeah, and I think you almost have to make this trade now because I do think once CeeDee Lamb production catches up to Dalvin Cook, it's too late.
Hits the cliff, and
Yeah.
I mean, then it's too
It
late.
happens
Todd
so
Gurley-
quick with
right.
running backs. Yeah, and there could easily be some injury this year that happens to Dalvin Cook, which again has happened frequently. He gets banged up quite a bit. He could get hurt one time this year, and then all of a sudden things are different from here on out.
That's it, yeah. And like I said, I've seen this trade more and more over the last couple of years. A guy just wanted to let go of a stud running back. Let me grab one of these young elite receivers, and I'm good to go for the next decade.
And it's tough, too, because it's the way the NFL looks at running backs, too. It has to have you on your toes at all times.
It's transferred to Dynasty. We don't care about these guys either.
Yeah.
All right. Then the final one popping up here, this one here, and once again, depending on how much you like Antonio Gibson, you may think this guy's a future top 5 back. For me, he's kind of one of them fringe young superstars. I'm looking at him just like a David Montgomery. And a lot of people love David Montgomery too. So, and my question here was another trade we see all the time. A young surprise running back, which for me, Antonio Gibson was a surprise. I think for a lot of other people, add a first-round pick and then go for more of a proven elite running back, which I do think Nick Chubb is, just being held back by Kareem Hunt a little bit. Watch out for next year when that handcuff's gone. But just your thoughts on this type of trade and what side would you rather be on? Just something we see all the time here, though.
So for me in this type of trade, I like the Gibson plus the future first a lot more actually than the older proven running back. But like looking at the player specifically, we've talked about Nick Chubb at length, saying, he reminds me of a Frank Gore type of player who could play for a really long time. However, based on recent history, we know that 25, 26, 20, like it's a steep cliff all of a sudden, 26 years old, the running position, and you can fall off real quick. Where Antonio Gibson about 3 to 4 years younger, you get the future first as well. There's a chance they finish real close this year, and if that's the case, Antonio Gibson's dynasty value is much higher because of the age. So I'm going to go with the younger back, but I still love Nick Chubb, and I do think, like you said, Antonio Gibson's more in that fringy upside, but there is a lot of upside. So
Yeah, so I actually have made a trade similar to this before in the league that Alec had mentioned, on the pick episode, where my team's, kind of stacked. I had, Austin Hooper was my tight end, and this was when he was tight end 1, like through 5 weeks or whatever, before he had gotten hurt. Like it was last year with the Falcons. And I gave him and my first-round pick, which I knew was going to be towards the bottom of the draft just because I felt that good about my team. And I traded those two for George Kittle. So it's kind of similar, maybe not as much age-wise, but having that opportunity to give like a good player that I like in Hooper and a pick for a guy that I just feel like just puts me a notch above where I was in George Kittle. And I feel like this trade is similar. Long-term, I love Gibson. I think he was a surprise, and I do think he's going to keep getting better and better. So I love that aspect of it. But if you feel like you're one legit running back away. Before Chubb got hurt last year, even with Kareem Hunt, he was putting up like 20 points a game. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was a lot. He was excellent. So, I mean, if you want a guy that's consistently going to put up big numbers for you when he's on the field, that's Nick Chubb. And as good as Gibson is, I don't think he's quite there yet. So I love this trade. That's me kind of advocating for the Chubb side because, he could be the difference maker on your team.
All right, good stuff. I just want to bring you guys 3 examples that we see trades with stud running backs all the time. As always, thanks for watching. If you could hit the like and subscribe button, come be a part of the Masters family. Another thing I wanted to pass along this upcoming Sunday, going to be the Great Orphaning. Got like over 500 Dynasty teams being released to the public. We got some super teams in there, some teams that are stacked. A great way to get into one of our Dynasty Leagues. Previous owners paid your deposit, so it's half off. Any last words, guys?
Yeah, we just disagreed on 2 out of 3, so don't be saying we just
Yeah,
we
all you
disagree
folks
all the
at
time.
home.
Yeah.
All right.